Kate Forbes is also in the news after dropping this clanger on oil and gas today. She's saying that the SNP is not against new oil and gas licences, despite obviously what Swinney's refusal to confirm this earlier in the week. And predictably, the Greens are outraged about it. I mean, does this signal a change in the SNP's position, Hannah? Or
I think
is it not much of a shift?
Well, I think there is a kind of subtle shift in the fact that, John Swinney was on the leaders, Ben, was it the leaders debate, the Scottish leaders debate, where he was kind of repeatedly asked. Yeah, he was repeatedly asked about, what would you do? Would you grant new licenses? And he very specifically did not say yes to that question, and I think perhaps the SNP were still trying to figure out what their position was and how they were going to answer that. Obviously, previously, when they were in partnership with the Greens, they couldn't. There was no way that they could say, yes, we're in favour of new licences, because the Greens would go berserk, as they have done now. So I think this sort of signal from Kate Forbes saying, the SNP would be open to granting new licences. I think she's kind of that words to that effect is what she said. While Kate Forbes has said that, I think that shows that they are moving maybe towards the realisation, perhaps, that oil and gas, you can't just switch it off. And what are all these people going to do, for jobs and things? And I think as well, they're maybe realising that with voters, the sort of just transition, even though people probably agree that it needs to happen, I think in practice, people do not agree with just shutting it off and making all these people redundant. And it is quite a sort of, contentious issue. And you could probably lose a lot of votes, particularly in the Northeast, if you just ban all new oil and gas licenses. I think they're kind of realising that. But also, Stephen Flynn, potentially could have... I'm not saying Stephen Flynn is the puppet master and he's controlling everything, even though I'm sure he would quite like to be seen that way. But I do know, from speaking to our sources and things, when Hamza Yusuf resigned, that he was not very happy with the Greens relationship, because he felt like it was going to impact his standing in his constituency over the North Sea issue. And perhaps, he's had some influence there. That's just a speculation. I've got no sort of sources backing that up. I'm just kind of thinking that potentially they could be seeing how important that issue is.